So last week's video was on the SURPASS-CVOT, and Tirzepatide proved it's no worse than Dulaglutide for your heart, non-inferior. The data doesn't lie. But here's the question nobody asked out loud. What if Dulaglutide wasn't that good to begin with? Today, we're going back to the trial that started it all, Rewind, the evidence that put Dulaglutide on the cardiovascular map and added CV credibility to the GLP-1s that already included semaglutide. Because if the foundation is shaky, the building above it isn't likely to stand tall. The PICO this week is slightly different than last. In adults aged 50 years and older with type 2 diabetes who also had established cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular risk factors, does weekly subcutaneous Dulaglutide at 1.5 milligrams reduce major adverse cardiovascular events compared to placebo? The differences here are that they're including cardiovascular risk factors, not those patients that already had cardiovascular disease exclusively. And it's compared to placebo, not an active comparator. Rewind was a multi-center, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial that was conducted across 370 sites in 24 countries. Patients needed to have type 2 diabetes with an A1C less than 9.5% and a BMI of at least 23, and either established vascular disease if they were 50 or older, or subclinical cardiovascular risk if they were 55 or older, or at least 2 cardiovascular risk factors if they were 60 or older. That's a deliberately wide net, primary and secondary prevention in the same trial.
Yes, casting a wide net.
The primary endpoint was the first occurrence of the MACE composite, non-fatal MI, non-fatal stroke, or death from cardiovascular or unknown causes. This trial was funded by Eli Lilly, with Lilly scientists on the steering committee and contributing to data interpretation. 9,901 patients were enrolled with a mean age of 66 years, a median hemoglobin A1C of 7.2, and established cardiovascular disease in only 31.5% of patients. Read that again.
I read it, and then I read it again.
One of the trials used to justify GLP-1s for heart protection enrolled a population where nearly 70% didn't have cardiovascular disease at all. The median follow-up here was 5.4 years. The primary composite outcome occurred in 12% of the Dulaglutide group compared to just 13.4% in the placebo group. That had a hazard ratio of 0.88 and a 95% confidence interval of 0.79 to 0.99, technically positive. But the p-value cleared the bar only after an alpha adjustment after an interim analysis, pushing the significant threshold down. The margin is razor thin. Now pull the composite apart. Cardiovascular death, not significant. Non-fatal MI, not significant. All-cause mortality, again, not significant. Heart failure, not significant. The composite lived and died on one endpoint, non-fatal stroke. That had a hazard ratio of 0.76. That's the whole story. And then there's the geographic wrinkle that continues to bother me, and I highlighted in the last video. In Europe, Dulaglutide worked with a hazard ratio of 0.77. But in the United States and Canada, the population most likely to be in your office patient panel, the hazard ratio is 1.14, trending in the wrong direction, and that subgroup represents only about 21% of the trial. No one puts this on their slide at Granite. The 2019 Rewind trial gets a 5.5 Castelli Coefficient. The design is solid, it's got double-blind, long-term follow-up, and intention to treat. Credit where it's due. But an industry-funded trial with sponsored employees shaping the interpretation, a composite that only cleared the significance after an alpha adjustment, 2 of 3 components sitting null, and mortality going nowhere, and a North American subgroup that trended against the drug. That's not the bedrock of a cardiovascular indication. That's a technically positive trial that has been asked to carry a lot more weight than the data can hold. What would move the needle here? A mortality signal, consistent benefit across all 3 components, and an explanation for why the drug trended harmful in North America. So the next time someone in the precepting room invokes the GLP-1 has cardiovascular benefit as a blanket justification, remember what you just saw. An absolute risk reduction of 1.4% over 5 years, driven by non-fatal stroke, in a population that was mostly primary prevention, with a hazard ratio that turned the wrong way in the US and Canada cohort. That's what the foundation of the SURPASS-CVOT trial was built on to show a non-inferiority claim. Not every patient with diabetes and heart needs a GLP-1, and now you have the receipts.